Okay, and hello everyone. So today I want to talk about meshing proper. Okay, so last video I showed you how to get the liveDemoCylinderClass thingy done. It's a pen thing. Okay, whatever. Yeah, so liveDemoCylinderClass now has some test descriptions which make it very easy to do all this face meshing and whatever. So next time is to, it makes it very easy to use the code because you can just copy and paste all the objects and whatever, you know. So makes it easy. So in case you go to the code, after very long, maybe about 3 months, you come back and then you look at your code, like, what am I supposed to do here? Yeah, this thing will help. Okay, so let's do some meshing with the faces. And first thing first, let's go to the mesh and then mesh module, and I'm going to try to get let's see, Windows object browser. Yeah, I'm going to try and mesh this object. I'm going to mesh this thing, and let's bring out the Python thing, Python console, make it a bit bigger. And yeah, the idea is that we will generate a Python dump file. I'm not sure if I already have one. Do we have one? Mesh and meshing with patches. Vim meshing with patches. Meshing with patches.py. Oh, okay. Looks like they already have it. So we have the faces here. We have the add to study in father thing. We already discussed that. Then now, okay. Now all we have to do is this, adding the inlet, the outlet, and everything into this S mesh face. So I'm going to vim two things at a go. Vim meshing with patches and liveDemoCylinderClass.py. So I'm not going to do the meshing thing again. I'm going to close this VLC media player. I'm going to vim both of these, and I'll use this as a reference to build all the classes that are needed. So so let's go. Let's see where we were last. Okay, so this is test face naming. Okay, so we already built the cylinder object. We got the outlet points, everything done. So we built all of this. Okay, we built all of these faces, faceless, etc. So now the next thing is to mesh the object. So let's go to look at the cylinder object, or rather let's take a look at here. Let's see. Okay, so we already executed all of this, and for the meshing part we need to make sure we have imported all of this, smesh and lammps. So let's check whether, because I have not accessed this code in a while, so I kind of forgot a lot of things. So we have sys salom notebook, yes, and the mesh part has already been done here. Okay, so all the modules have been imported, so that's good. So this part is fine. So smesh equals smesh builder new. Okay, let me undo this. Smesh equals smesh builder new. Okay, where is the smesh builder new? Okay. Okay, smesh. Yes, this is this is done under initialize Salom objects, so it's already done. That's that. So that's where I have this initiate Salom objects. Then now here is where we start doing the cylinder to mesh kind of thing. So where are these found? They are in this thing called mesh shape netgen 1D, 2D, 3D. So what does the mesh do? It takes a shape in and then it starts to do the meshing. So for example, okay, it takes in cylinder 2, which is the shape, and then it does all of this. Now it does all of this. Okay, So a little bit of a thing we need to add in here. Okay, little thing we need to do over here is to add this. These are the extra steps that are needed. We need to add the outlet, wall, and inlet into the into this what do you call that? Let's see. Yeah, we need to add the inlet, wall, and outlet into the cylinder mesh group. Okay, so this is what we need to do. Okay, we need to get the mesh name, and then we need to do this thing called group on geom. So what is our mesh name here? We usually just call our mesh name mesh1. Okay, so we just call our mesh name mesh1. Okay, and this thing is a little bit inconvenient because it just lumps all the steps together, so that when we want to insert new steps over here, it's a bit difficult. So I'm going to start breaking up the function. Yeah, I'm going to start breaking up the function into several smaller functions, and I'll try not to put them in a function form. I mean, I'll have to put them in function form, but I rather them, you know, play with attributes rather than yeah, I rather them play with attributes rather than deal with other things. Okay, so yeah, these things you will need to put in an explicit shape in there, and you need to put in a mesh name. I mean, you don't really need to put in a mesh name, but you need to put in a shape here. So the way I'm going to code this is more in an object-oriented kind of way, so that I'll have get and set functions and everything. So let's see. Let's start. Okay, so mainly I want to work with cylinder 2, right? I'm going to work with cylinder 2. Okay, so I have a function to do build cylinder 2, and then after that I want a function to get cylinder 2. Okay, so where is get cylinder 2? Do we have a get cylinder 2? Okay, I don't have a get cylinder 2, so I'm going to make a get cylinder 2. So the get and set functions are here. I'm going to put it over here. So def get cylinder 2 self return self.cylinder2. So it makes it neat and tidy. So alright, so let's define a function here called def mesh. Okay, let's do mesh init. Okay, and what's this supposed to do? Okay, mesh init just makes this a mesh1 object. Okay, so let's have a shape equals to default. Okay, and the default shape will be cylinder 2, of course, or rather let me just put it here just to make it clear. Cylinder 2. If shape equals to cylinder 2, that's the default, then shape equals self.get cylinder 2. So I don't have any arguments to put in here. Everything will be done within a class. Very neat. Okay, so that's the first part, mesh init. So then I'll have self.mesh1 equals to self dot or rather I'll just say default mesh. Okay, I will change this to default. Actually, yeah, default mesh is a bit confusing. I'll just use the word mesh. So self dot mesh1. I'll call this mesh1. Self dot mesh1 equals to self dot s mesh dot mesh of the shape. Okay, so it's the same thing here. Okay, and then that's it. I don't want to do anything else. I want to break up this thing. So when I have this mesh shape net gen 1D, 2D, 3D, I will instead have this. Okay, and let me also do a get mesh1. So I'm going to change it to more object-oriented way of doing things. Self get mesh1, return self.mesh1. Okay, the reason why I'm doing this is that it'll make things a lot neater. I don't have as many dot things. Well, yeah, I will still have the dot things, but if it gets more and more complicated, this is a neater way of getting things done. And there are less arguments to keep putting things in, if you know what I mean. So, for example here, if I keep doing it in function form, I will have to specify a shape, I have to specify this, I have to specify that. It makes the thing very cumbersome to use. Rather do it in a form where I don't put in any arguments into my function. It will just deal with the attributes or the data that is attached to this object. Okay, that's the convenience of object-oriented programming rather than, you know, you keep doing functions. So that's the mesh init. Okay, so next thing is dev mesh 1 algo net gen 1d 2d 3d. What does this do? Well, all this does is that all this does is to take mesh 1 self.mesh1. Okay, or let me see. Yeah. Self dot, I'm going to just copy this whole thing. Self.net gen 1d 2d 3d equals to mesh self.mesh1 tetrahedron algo equals self net gen builder. Okay, so this is just to do this part of the code, and then so this is well, I can call this a legacy code. I'm going to copy and paste. It should still work, but I'm not going to use this part anymore. Okay, so this code is just here for reference. I'm not going to use it at all. And this thing here is well, let's do something a little bit different. So okay, I'm going to do self.mesh1 init shape equals to shape. Okay. Okay, so mesh1 algo netgen 1d 2d 3d. Okay, it will only deal with this mesh1 object. So I'm not going to give you the choice of what mesh you're dealing with. So you just have to work with that. Okay, so next thing is self.mesh1 algo netgen 1d 2d 3d. So you'll do everything over here. And notice now I don't have to put any arguments inside. Makes it very convenient. Okay, and since I have this netgen 1d 2d 3d, I want to set a get function for that. Dev get mesh1 netgen 1d 2d 3d self. Return this. Okay, so I want to find a way to get this without all these underscores and of course make things neater. Okay, so it will make it easier later on when I want to get this, right? I'm gonna get this. All right, so that makes this part replaceable now. Okay, self.mesh1 netgen 1d 2d 3d. So you see, now the code's a lot nicer to look at. Okay, let me undo that. Oh yeah, this one is already done. Okay, so well, mesh1 compute, that's very straightforward. Dev mesh1 compute. And this one is just self.mesh1.compute. Okay, and I'm going to do the is done thing equals. Okay, and then I'll just do a return in case you want this, because this is done is kind of a boolean. It says it's more or less it's a boolean thing, which means that if you look at this, is done is being returned here, but you'll never see the is done thingy being used at all. So you might as well just leave it as a compute thing and never touch the is done again. Okay, so I do not want to set the attribute is done because I think it's pretty redundant. So no, don't do it. So let's do this. Self.mesh1 compute. Okay, and then okay, here you have the thing called set name. Okay, set name is set name is something I want to do while I'm doing all this hypotheses. Okay, so I want to group these functions together here. Okay, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this is because when I execute a code and I want to set the name at the same time, it makes it a lot easier to read, rather than if you look at the Python dump file, you do all the code there and then you just set all the name at the back. So I want to kind of group all this set naming part together. Okay. Alright, so set name is this, you get the algorithm. Okay, netgen 1D, 2D, 3D. Okay, so we don't know what netgen 1D, 2D, 3D is, but we know what self.netgen 1D, 2D, 3D is. So I'll just add the self there. We'll get the algorithm. Then we'll just set this as netgen 1D, 2D, 3D by default. I'm not going to change anything. So I'm going to do that. Self.mesh1l. Okay, so that kind of makes that line redundant. Okay, so next thing is to do this self.smesh set name, which is this part here. So it tells you to get a mesh and then you set the name of the mesh. So well, where do we find this? Okay, so this thing is actually mesh1 get mesh, and I would rather put the set name over here when I'm initiating the mesh, because it is kind of logical, it flows together. So I'll do this self.smesh.set name self.mesh1.get mesh. So I'm going to put it together. Then I'll have the mesh name here, which is well, what do I put? Okay, the shape is cylinder2 mesh name equals to shape. Okay, or cylinder2. Okay, equals to okay. What am I doing here? So the shape is cylinder2. If the shape is not cylinder2, I will just call the mesh name mesh1. Because why it's mesh1. If the shape is cylinder2, I want to set the mesh name to be cylinder2 as well, to like hopefully lessen the confusion. So that's what I'm doing here. Let's put the mesh name in. Mesh name. Okay, and that should be it. All right. Alright, so yeah, so this is the part where we sort of break everything up. Okay, break the constituent steps up into all of this, so that yeah, we can use some of these functions when we are dealing with faces. So this part is done. So that's the easy part, is to you convert this into something like this, so that's very, very neat, as you can see. And now we can reuse the functions as and how we like. Okay, we can reuse the function as and how we like. Let's see how much time. You can reuse the function as and how we like. So let's deal with that part as well. I'm going to start adding all of these things in wholesale. Okay, so when it comes to faces, there are two parts to it. Firstly, we'll have this cylinder to mesh part. Okay, or rather, we have this sMesh object, which I will replace cylinder to mesh with self.mesh1 or something like that. Okay, or whatever mesh that it is. Okay, then we'll have our outlet, inlet, and wall. Okay, so where is this outlet, inlet, and wall? Okay, so these are actually objects that sort of appear here. So we will want this outlet, inlet, and wall geom_pipe objects to somehow get translated here. So we might have some get and set functions for outlet, inlet, and wall as well. So let's do that, because if not, if we did it by the traditional function way, we will need to specify what outlet, inlet, and wall is, and try to put everything out here. Yeah, put everything out here. Okay, put everything out here and manually put in the arguments one at a time. And it's going to be a very, very messy way of doing things, so I don't really like that. I want to put it in a neat way, so that time comes down the road, it'll be easier to do. So let's take a look at how we are doing it now. Okay, we are having to put in a lot of arguments every now and then, so that's not ideal. But I mean, it works, but it's not ideal because you gotta keep typing things out. Okay, so let's look at the build bottom inlet face. Okay, so this is the bottom inlet face, and here we are. Okay, so I'm going to change this thing just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, so we see that we have the face list here and the shape here. Now these things these are necessary to put in, but I want to again change a lot of the way we operate with this thing. Okay, so yeah, I think we can still use the same build bottom inlet face and everything. It is still fine, but we might want to use some sort of a wrapper function. But anyway, this is too much. My ideas are flowing all over the place. It might be confusing to you, but don't worry, I will explain it slowly in the next few videos. It might take a while to actually reorganize this code to sort of something that we like and we can use. Okay, so I think that is enough for today. I do not want to keep going on and on, so I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye.